From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed. Defense Minister Bill Blair says Canada's NATO defense spending pledge will amount to $60 billion a year by 2032. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced Canada's new timeline to meet the 2% NATO defense spending target yesterday at the Leaders' Summit in Washington, D.C., with no details as to how it would meet the target. Blair says Canada's new timeline is based on projections that the country's GDP will hit a bit more than $3 trillion in 8 years.
We thought the best and most verifiable date that we could provide to our allies was by 2032. And so that's what we've communicated to our allies. And once we communicated that to our allies, we communicated it publicly as well.
Blair says the number didn't sort of just come out of the air, but out of a lot of hard work. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston is offering condolences on behalf of all Nova Scotians after a young person was swept away by floodwaters in Wolfville yesterday and later found dead.
There is tremendous infrastructure damage throughout the valley. We'll rebuild that. That will be rebuilt, but none of that will replace the loss of a young life that's been lost here.
The death comes in a region still recovering from flooding a year ago that caused extensive damage and killed several people, including 2 children. More than 100 millimeters of rain fell in the region in just a few hours last night, prompting emergency alerts and flash flood warnings as the remnants of Hurricane Beryl swept through the province. Meanwhile, federal officials say the remnants of Hurricane Beryl has reduced the risks of wildfires in parts of eastern Canada, at least for now.
It's important to note that wildfire activity this season is running far behind the pace and scale of what we witnessed last year, which is great news. But we are now into the heart of our fire season, and we are tracking carefully a number of fires across the country and the expansion of general wildfire activity.
While the storm brought flash floods and destruction to parts of the Maritimes, this wildfire season is far less severe than last year's record-setting one. As of yesterday, the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre reports 577 active fires, 402 of which have been deemed out of control. Following the aftermath of a 2-day strike, WestJet Airlines says the tentative contract between the company and its mechanics union has been ratified. The strike saw a near shutdown of WestJet's network over the Canada Day long weekend and cost it millions of dollars. And Western University in London, Ontario has paused its Alice Munro Chair program after recent revelations from the late author's daughter. Andrea Robin Skinner recently brought to light that her mother protected her husband after learning he had sexually abused her daughter. The university is pausing the endowed chair program that bears Munro's name to, quote, carefully consider Munro's legacy and her ties to Western. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers look to build on their first win of the CFL season when they host the Calgary Stampeders tonight. The Bombers started the campaign 0-4, which was uncharacteristic of a team that had appeared in the last 4 Grey Cups. The 2-2 Stampeders are coming off a 30-26 loss at Montreal. Ottawa's Gabriela Dabrowski and partner Aaron Rootliff are a win away from their second Grand Slam title. The second-seeded pair down the American team of Desiree Kravchik and Caroline Dolehide in women's doubles semifinal action at Wimbledon. Next up for the 2023 U.S. Open Championships is a showdown with 4 seeds Katerina Siniakova of Czechia and Taylor Townsend of the United States. And the Toronto Blue Jays kick off the final series of a 9-game road trip when they take on the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. Toronto is 4-2 on the road swing so far after series wins in Seattle and San Francisco. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.